On today's episode of Locked On Avalanche, there's an all-star who has requested a trade. So naturally, he's coming to the Avalanche, right? No. But let's talk about it anyway. Here's a new episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
Your Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your bleeding host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in, making it your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. Make sure you're following us on our social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, X, Locked On Avalanche, Instagram, and Threads. Questions, comments, concerns, and opinions, LockedOnAvalanche@gmail.com. And follow us on our YouTube channel. Hit subscribe. Get notified when a new show goes live. Make sure you are subscribed to our subtext as well. Link to that is on the show notes below. And when you do, you chat with Kyle and I one-on-one. We get your opinion, everything Avalanche related, which we share on this very podcast. And a lot of today is going to be question Mondays are typically a mailbag Monday. So we'll get to a lot of topics that a lot of people have asked. And we will have another draft prospect, as Kyle likes to call it, the draftchular. And a very, very interesting one in Trevor Connelly, who we'll be discussing a little bit later. But where we are going to start today, sir, we got a couple of questions about Patrik Laine, who has requested a trade from Columbus. Columbus seems to be okay with that and is shopping him around. I haven't really heard much beyond that, other than the usual. This would be a good team fit. This team would be good and or has the assets to move around, whatever. I'm not hearing anything Avalanche related in that because it doesn't make sense for him to come to Colorado. But that doesn't stop people from thinking the Avs have a chance at landing Patrik Laine. It is, I just do not feel in any way, shape, or form this could happen. But the big carrot that everyone wanted to dangle was, oh, that's how we get rid of Nichushkin. Laine for Nichushkin. Straight up, I don't think maybe there's more involved to their trade, but that's what the majority of questions I got on can the Avalanche get Patrik Laine? Let's give them Val Nichushkin. Give me your take. Wait on the Nichushkin part of it, but just like, would you even want Laine? Like, I mean, doesn't really seem like he fits the system, but I mean, he's a good player. He's a great player. What do you think?
Okay, tell Patrik Laine is when was the last time he's fit somewhere? It seems like everywhere he goes, it's scorched earth when he's getting ready to leave. And I get he's got talent. I've seen him play. I know who Patrik Laine is. He's an all-star. I get it. Yeah. But I mean, his exit in Winnipeg wasn't great. His exit in Columbus sounds disgusting. And Columbus is desperate for talent. Why would they be okay with letting somebody of his caliber go? And then you're asking, oh, well, this is an easy option. Let's just trade Nichushkin for Laine. How does this improve things for the Colorado Avalanche? I know what Laine could potentially provide the Avalanche talent-wise, but that hasn't really shown up in Columbus. And what if he's not gets to Colorado and again is not happy at this stop and then demands a trade there? What does that do for team morale? What does that do for the locker room cohesion? And then I hate to break it to you. If you want to get rid of Nichushkin, you have to sweeten the deal a little bit. So that means it's going to be Nuke and somebody that you might like to get a caliber player of Laine, which is also a rich contract. And honestly, is he beneficial for this Avalanche roster?
I mean, I don't think they'd be worse if they got him. Like he's a very good player. But this whole notion of like, oh, well, let's, would that work? Giving Val Nichushkin up for Patrik Laine? No, it would not, because just as much as you want to get rid of Val Nichushkin, there's most teams that do not want him right now. So what makes you think like, oh, that's our out? Like, we don't want him anymore because of what he's done to the team. Other teams know that. Other teams know what he's done to the Colorado Avalanche. They don't want that happening to their team. And he hasn't been given the opportunity to redeem himself yet. So therefore, that other teams are not going to be the one to test that theory out. So you are stuck right now with Val Nichushkin. Maybe the only way I see it happening, like in this offseason, you know that deal they made for Sean Walker, where it was like, we'll give you a first round pick for him, but you also have to take Ryan Johansson.
Mm-hmm.
It would be that. It would be here's all of the good trade pieces, whether it be draft picks or prospects or current players, and then you have that framework done, and then the Avalanche say like, okay, we will do it. We'll give you all that what you want. You also got to take Val Nichushkin off our hands. He won't be the focal point of a draft, or excuse me, of a trade. He will not be the focal point of it. It'd have to be all of that, and then here's a kicker just to take him off our hands too. It's not going to happen the other way.
And Columbus has a new new face of management. And the last thing you want to do is offload a superstar of Patrik Laine's caliber and then bring in a question mark of Val Nichushkin. And what if that blows up in your face? That's not what you want to make your mark on. And I hate to break it to you. Teams, like you mentioned, Chris, they've seen the nuke situation, both parts, the whole trilogy, play out in front of their eyes. And they're saying, oh, of course, we'll take that Nichushkin guy. But talk to me about this Logan O'Connor kid. Talk to me about this Sam Girard guy. You got to sweeten the pot and make it worth the risk because they are also offloading Patrik Laine where they could get immense value anywhere else. So why are you taking Colorado's broken goods in a good favor? Well,
because Columbus wants to get better.
Yes, that's not going to help them get better. They're going to say, oh, cool. Yeah, sure. We'll help you out. Laine wants out. Sure. We'll take Nichushkin. But let's also talk about, and then they're going to start looking down this roster and making it hurt a little bit to even it out because they want to get better. They want to field a better hockey team than what they had last year. So do the Colorado Avalanche.
And this gets to another question, which Vargar asked. And he said, will Val Nichushkin still be on the roster for next year's playoffs? Which is a good question. That is a very good question because I think I am pretty much accepting that Val Nichushkin will be back with the Avalanche when and if he is reinstated by the league. The next team he plays for is the Avalanche. I just don't feel like there's any way to get out from under his contract or move him. So I feel like, or unless he just says like, I'm not coming back to the league. I'm done with it. I'd rather do what I want to do and stay in Russia or whatever. Like maybe that's the only way that they really do get out of it before the season starts or before he's able to come back. But so let's just say he does come back. He plays for the Avs and he's on his best behavior. Like this has been happening in the past couple years where he's on his best behavior during the regular season. Although I know he went into the players program in February-ish or somewhere around there. And he shows that he's okay for when he comes back in November, December, January, February. And now you get into March and now you can shop him around and say like, well, he's given us 4 or 5 months of he's okay. So now the trade piece comes into play. That's maybe when they do it. If he can come back, show that at least for the short term, things are okay. And then when it's trade deadline time, you have that saying like, well, I know it's only recent, but since he's come back to us, he's been okay. And trade him to a team maybe that's not making the playoffs because we all know that's where the struggles seem to happen is in the playoffs. Or I'm just saying you just have more of an angle to move him at that point if it goes that way.
You bring up the great point of when Nuke comes back, he will be an Av because the timeline makes it unfavorable to make a move, and the program, quote unquote, whatever umbrella you want to put that under, makes it hard to make a move legally. So it'll take either Nuke saying, I can't do the NHL anymore, I'm going to the KHL. I get that. Go make money over there. Awesome. It's been done. But if he comes back to the NHL, it's going to be with the Avalanche, like it or not. But I feel like, will he show up in the playoffs? I feel like when he comes back, it's going to just be shopping him around, because I understand this. You've been on your best behavior. You've done all this, checking the boxes, but you've done this before, and this is not the first. This is not the second. So I feel like all of those, like, earn your trust moments have been there and have been laid out. And this is 2 playoffs in a row where something has happened. And if you go, shame on me once, shame on me twice, and then you can't go 3.
I know.
Especially, we were just talking about Columbus's management trying to save face. McFarland has to do a little bit of that too, because you are now on. You can't go 3 strikes. We're basically at 3 strikes now. This is like 4, and torpedoing another playoff run for the Colorado Avalanche. You just can't. You can't do that. So he will be a member of the Avalanche, but it won't be to stay. They will be trying to find ways to get him out.
So give me an answer to that question.
No.
Will Val Nichushkin be on the Avalanche come next year's playoffs?
I say healthy scratch him if he stays around to that point, because it you have to send a message. And you have to say, guys, look, we've done this before. And you point back to the last 2 seasons. You can't have, I know you could promise all day long it's not going to happen again, but that's what we thought going into this series, especially with how he played against Winnipeg. You thought things were going to go great for this trajectory, and then the Dallas series happened. You can't have that happen again in round 2, the conference final, or the Stanley Cup. You can't. You'd have to healthy scratch and say, yeah, that's been great. You got us to this point, but playoffs are a problem. You've earned our trust, but not you just can't torpedo another playoffs for us.
You know, like, I don't want to say 100% one way or the other. God, man, I would almost lean towards they find a way to move him at some point during the season, because you make the playoffs again next year and he's on your team. This is the talking point of the Colorado Avalanche for the playoffs next year.
Which
not
makes
who they're going
more
up against, not how Nathan McKinnon's playing, not how Cale Makar's playing. It is Val Nichushkin going to be playing the next game? Is the other shoe going to fall again for Val Nichushkin? That is not what you want. Yeah, that's not the media attention that you want, or what the stories are floating around in the media. And that's not what you want in the back of the players' heads too, of, is he going to do this again? It's just not, like, psychologically where anybody wants to be. And I know they care about the guy and they want him to come out of this. But I think, for the betterment of the team at that stage, I think they're going to try like heck for the duration of the season to figure out a way to move him because of that. They're just the unknown at that. It's happened twice now. And like you said, this happens a 3rd time, man. I mean, it's happened twice in the playoffs. It's happened 3 times in total. It's a good question. It is a good question, and obviously we'll see how this all pans out. So, Vargar had another question about jerseys, because we were talking about jerseys last week. So let's get our first break in, and when we come back, we'll get that question from Vargar and others as well. So stick around. First, let's hear from Policy Genius. A lot of life is unpredictable, but a good life insurance plan gives your family a financial safety net to protect against some of the unknowns. And with Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options are 100% online and let you avoid unnecessary medical exams. Policy Genius helps you easily compare your options from America's top insurers in just a few clicks. Their award-winning agents can even walk you through the process step by step, because your work-life insurance policy may not offer enough protection for your family's needs, and even worse, it may not come with you if you leave or switch your job. Policy Genius has no incentive to recommend one insurer over the other, so you can trust their guidance. Get peace of mind by finding the right life insurance policy with Policy Genius. Head to policygenius.com or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save at policygenius.com. All right. Let's get the other question that Vargar threw in here, because I feel like he knows, and maybe I'm tipping people off here. If you ask a jersey question, it probably will get answered on this podcast. And because we were talking about the Utah jerseys last week, he asked the question, what is your quote unquote white buffalo of hockey jerseys? Because he threw that one out for himself. He likes the white buffalo one. And he gave out guesses. For me, he thinks it's going to be the Shane Gostisbehere Union College one, which I absolutely would love to have, which I probably could get if I really wanted to put the effort into getting that one. And for you, he said the Kadri London Knights of the OHL would be our white buffalo. And by white buffalo, I'm assuming he means like the jersey that we have to have, the jersey that we like absolutely have to own. Do I have to own the Gostisbehere Union College one? If I had to own it, like I said, I could probably go out and get that one. It's not, that'd be a great one for me to have. I can tell you that. But what is your jersey that is an absolute must own for you?
The Kadri Knights jersey, yes, it's high up there, but there is one, the grandest of them all, that I have looked for years, almost 20 years, almost dating myself. A Paul Kariya Colorado Avalanche jersey.
That's a sweet one.
I want one of those so bad. He was one of my favorite players at the time, and just for that chance, like the opportunity, like Kadri, and what it meant for me almost 20 years fast forward, to have Paul Kariya in Avalanche colors in that jersey. I want one of those so bad it hurts.
And a Solani one, maybe like those, yeah. Just because when they both came here, those high expectations, like those would be cool. For me, like getting outside of the Avalanche one, I could easily this is a very easy one to own. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it. And like for me, like so many people my age now, when they were kids, like getting into the sport, it was Gretzky. The reason you got into the sport is because of Gretzky. And at that point in time, he was playing for the Kings. That's just a jersey I've always wanted, is the Wayne Gretzky black Los Angeles Kings with that, the older logo like that. I know it's very simple and it's widely available, but to me, that just brings me back to, a young kid just collecting cards and just everything Wayne Gretzky. And that cartoon that he had, what was that cartoon that he had with Bo Jackson and Michael Jordan?
Man.
Pro Stars or something like that.
Pro Stars.
Like, dude, I lived for that cartoon. Like it was just everything revolved around Gretzky. So I should just get it. I really should just get it. Because I have his Oilers one. I have the 99 Oilers one.
I don't have a single Gretzky piece of anything, and I think that'd be clutch. A non-Avs one, Miroslav Shatan.
Really?
It's a really obscure name, but I used to think it was so cool because it literally said Satan on the back of his jersey when he skated around.
Yeah.
And Miroslav Shatan, he was really cool for me as a kid in like the 2000s.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. So if I pull the trigger, I'll wear it on an episode, maybe when they're playing the Kings or something like that. But
word,
I should do it. All right. So Coy asks, if you had to pick one app to be quote your dad teaching you how to skate, who would it be? I personally think the only answer is Landeskog, but I think the question is kind of fun. Happy Father's Day to both of us. And yeah, by the way, we should have said at the top, Happy Father's Day, a day late, but Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Who would it be? What ab would you want to teach you how to skate if you needed to?
Oh, see, that's a wonderful question, and it would have to be Burnaby Joe Sakic. I kind of want
that counts. Yeah,
I like. Yes, I get that he's not so much on this current roster, but just to pick his brain, not just like the skating aspect, because he's going to teach you leadership, and it kind of goes hand in hand with the Father's Day, like leadership in a captaincy role and a office type role. Just how he analyzes the game, I just think it's something that a 30 for 30 has to be done on just how he operates as a human being. Because I find his story so untapped and so fascinating. Like, yes, he could teach you the fundamentals of the game, and it'll automatically put you to Hall of Fame status. But how he handles everything on and off the ice, I think Joe Sakic would be fascinating.
That would be a good one. For the current players, current roster, I think my easy answer is Cale Makar, but I would totally let him down because like nobody can skate like you. Like I would not be able to live up to how you skate around the ice. It's just like poetry in motion. So it'd just be a failing proposition because I wouldn't be able to do it justice. Therefore, Miles Wood.
Yep. See,
because it's just go, dude. I don't need to teach you how to do anything. Just go. And when there's a wall there, do the best you can to stop. Is literally how a Miles Wood skating videotape would go.
And that's it's funny you bring up Miles Wood as like your current Av because I would have said Cogliano.
Yeah, like I could see that, like because he knows all the tricks, right?
Just
he
all the
knows
tricks
ins and
that
outs.
stay healthy, be where you're supposed to be, and maximize your output for the minutes that you're given, and be honestly a force no matter how much ice time you're seeing, and like be useful to the team. Like Cogs has a really good hockey IQ and mentality.
And to Coy's point, because Coy brought up Landeskog, and he said, I think the only answer is Landeskog. And I want to ask him why he thinks that's the only answer. It's an interesting way that he phrases that. Is it because of the injury? Is it because of and how he's coming back from that? Like, imagine what he is learning about himself and how, and how differently he might need to skate now compared to how he used to. That's a wealth of knowledge right there that he could bestow among someone who is, just learning how to skate or something like that. Like for a kid, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's the route he's going with that, but that's a very good point to bring out.
Like, I didn't answer Landy because he already makes me feel inferior in everything I do, and I've never even said a word to the man. So if I had a one-on-one situation, like his looks, his skill, his hockey IQ, I'd always feel like, well, no matter what I do, it's not going to be anywhere close to Landy. So why try?
I think we should do this again tomorrow, but ask about like shooting.
Oh, yeah.
Who would be the dad that we would want to, if we were a young buck,
That's a good question.
6, 7, 8 years old, who would we want to teach us how, and all through our careers, young careers, who would want us to teach us the shooting aspect of the game? Maybe we'll do that one for tomorrow. So
I like that.
that one. All right, let's get to our draft prospect of the day. And this is an interesting one, folks. So stay tuned because we're going to be talking about Trevor Connelly coming up next. All right, we got FanDuel. Of course, summertime means baseball, the NBA Finals, of course, the Stanley Cup Finals, and you can bet on it all at FanDuel. And right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $200 that you can use to bet on everything from Finals MVP to who's going to hit one out of the park. Anything going on Stanley Cup relay? We got these two series right now, Kyle. Thought both were going to be sweeps. Doesn't seem to be the case. When's the? I don't keep up with the NBA. When is that NBA thing going on as we're recording this, or is that tomorrow? When is it?
I believe that's tonight at time of I believe it's tonight when you're listening to this.
Is it
Monday
really?
night.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not right now. So are these going to get wrapped up? What do you think?
I would say yes. That's it. Everybody made their final in both Stanley and NBA finals. Everybody made their final pitch. That's over.
Then isn't the series for NBA going back to Boston? I genuinely think the Boston Bruins, yes. You know where my head is at. I genuinely think the Boston Celtics blew that game so they could win it on
gentlemen sweeps on both ends.
I honestly think that. So just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and add a big win to your summer bucket list. That's FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. All right, let's get to our draft prospect for today. And like we said, we were calling this the Draftchular. So Kyle, who is the consummate viewing participant when it comes to the draft, and I'm trying to let him know who some of these prospects are. So he hands that one. It's not a rose, it's a jersey. You're handing the jersey to the one prospect that you want the Avs to pick. Today, we're going to be talking about Trevor Connelly. And Connelly has it all on the ice, Kyle. All of it. He is what you love about young prospects. Everything. Offense, defense, special teams, power play. 200-foot player. Not afraid to mix it up. Great amongst the boards. Really good shot. He can score. He can defend. He's all the tools. However many tools you want to say, he genuinely has it all. And in any other draft, well, I shouldn't say that. I guess the way I should phrase it is, if the problems that he had didn't exist, we're talking top 15 player. Easy. But because of the off of the ice problems, which we will talk about in a second, you genuinely do not know where he is going. He could still go around the mid-teens. He could also drop out of the first round altogether. And it's simply because of his off the ice problems. And what are those problems? If you follow the show page on Instagram, you'll see the small write-up I did of him. He makes some questionable off the ice decisions. And ones that he has, well, one he did apologize for, the thing in the library with the teammate that he had, and they put books in a certain form and whatever. Go look it up if you want to. He apparently made some racial comments to a opponent on the ice. That he denies happening. The other thing he can't deny because he put it up on Snapchat, and that's up for viewing. He has come back, like he does come out and he apologized for it. There's other things that he has had problems with, just behavioral off the ice. And that is causing him to just, we don't know what to do with this guy. And there are teams who are just totally enamored with how he plays, but it is a risk taking him because of all of that off the ice stuff. So do you look at it as he's just a young kid doing stupid stuff and, put him on a professional team with adults who and just make him grow up? Or is this a bigger thing for him, and this is part of his DNA, part of his makeup, and this is a problem maybe for the future? There's teams on both sides of this right now.
We'll see. Now, the whole purpose of this Draftula segment that we have here is because I'm so skeptical of just the importance of a draft player. I kind of am very passive when it comes to that. Is it bad that I know about Trevor but coming into this, that I do know, and the stuff that Chris was alluding to, just to kind of give you a little bit more clarification, the stuff he has been involved with, he would be an enemy of Indiana Jones, if that would, I just want to kind of, because with hockey players, there's a lot of controversies. So I want to kind of channel it to where it is. He'd be not too big of a fan of Indiana Jones, but yes, for Chris McFarland, for everything we were talking about in the first segment with Laine and Nichushkin and forgiving and falling and forgiving and falling, what good would I get his talent? It's incredible. You hear about the skill that he would improve any team, any line that he plays with. That's awesome. That sounds wonderful for the Colorado Avalanche. But do you also want another media firestorm and something that the team has to address in-house? Like, is this something that you want to draft? What does this say for the Colorado Avalanche? Like, I get he was young, he's dumb, but there's still little things that kind of carry and follow him, and that's understood. That's going to happen when you do stuff like that. Is right. What are the Avalanche saying when you have the Nichushkin thing going on, and then you're drafting a player that has this kind of controversy? What does that say about Colorado as a whole? I feel like I understand what he could do for this team. That's great. But is this something the Avalanche want to say, yes, this is who we're drafting? We are the place that we fix that kind of thing and still have to carry the Nichushkin contract?
Well, and that's kind of why I think I would lean towards like they're not going to entertain this, because they've already have enough off the ice stuff that they have to answer for right now. Add this into the mix and you're really setting yourself up for like, what's going on in Avalanche circles? Because they don't typically go after guys like this, but they don't typically go after guys like this that are already in the NHL. right? So they won't go out. If this was a problem for someone that's an unrestricted free agent, 27, 28 years old, the Avalanche are going to look at that. And you can back it up 10 years to 17, 18 years old, whatever this kid is. And do you look at that differently? And do you look at that as like he still has a lot of maturing to do? And can we, do we bring that in? Because the Avalanche, if they're interested in him, they're going to have conversations with him. They're going to talk to him about it. And then they're going to come out of it really feeling like, okay, like just a young, dumb kid. Or maybe based on other answers, we don't really just like this kid's makeup and we're going to go in a different direction. And that would be fine too. But I feel like, because you how many goons are there in the NHL right now that were not that way when they were drafted? So it's like the opposite kind of like you're kind of making that decision on him now. And I'm not trying to make a case for him. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here, where it's like it would make sense for whoever takes him to say, like, the on ice, we love that. The off ice, okay, he's 16 years old when he did what he did. Still stupid. Not trying to explain it away. Still very stupid. But we've all done stupid stuff in our teens, and that we don't want to be known for now, and we don't want to hold that against us our entire lives. So you take a chance on him. I mean, the Predators have one in their system right now. Zach, I can't pronounce his last name. It's so hard to pronounce. Larehu, or however you want to pronounce it. He was a big question mark going into the draft. By all accounts, he's gotten over that stuff. So kids and teenagers do dumb things. But I still, even though I'm trying to, make some sort of case for the kid, I still wouldn't do it if I'm the Avs because of the Nichushkin stuff. If the Nichushkin stuff wasn't happening, maybe they go down this road because kid is talented. I hate for that to overcome like the off the ice stuff, but he really is.
You ready for me to slam the door on Trevor Connelly with two words?
Yep.
Alex Galchenyuk.
But he was a current player. That's my point. He's been in the league for how long?
But that's
but he wasn't doing that stuff when he was 15, 16, 17 years old.
That's two names, Nichushkin and Galchenyuk in Avalanche sweaters when all of this is going on. Why in the world are we doing this again with a third? Like,
but no, it's not. It's different though. It's because he is not. Again, like Galchenyuk, he's been in the league for how long, and he was doing that. Like, then that stuff caught up to him. It's different for a draft prospect. I'm just trying to get in the mindset of like, kids are kids, and Galchenyuk's an adult, and talking to cops the way he was talking to him, like that. No, I don't want any part of that. Can I get to a kid? Can I talk to a kid and say like, dude, like what's going on in your head here, and try to like psychologically break it down? Yeah. And if you're comfortable with, after having that conversation, taking a chance on him, I can see that happening. If you still don't want to go down the road, that's fine too. But he's not helped himself. He's not done any favors for himself by acting the way. And if it was a one-off thing, or if what happened in the library is the only thing that happened, then we can be like, okay, it was just, yeah. But it's been a couple things here. It's not just the one thing. And because of that aspect, it not just being the one thing, I think you just have to look the other way right now.
I don't think the Avalanche could do that currently, because they have proven they can make homegrown talent. They haven't proven they can make homegrown human beings, and they're not a good spot for cleaning that up. Making you play hockey and Avalanche and help the Avalanche win, they could do that. Abe Kubel is a Stanley Cup champion because of that. But when it comes to character issues, the jury's still out on if the Avalanche can do that and fix that, because currently they can't.
In a lot of mock drafts, who the team that a lot of people have taken Trevor Connelly, you want to take a guess?
Vegas.
At 19.
Is it bad that I don't even have to think?
You don't even have to know. And that would fit the molds, if anything. Vegas team just doesn't care about anything. Would absolutely, and I genuinely think that's where he's going to go, if you ask me. All Vegas cares about what's going on the ice. And in that aspect, they're going to get a good player if they take him. But they will have to deal with a lot. So we'll see what happens. But it'll be interesting. If I don't think the Avs are going to do it, but he could fall to 24 where the Avs are.
And he'll fall to 25.
In the back of my head, I'll be thinking like, would they really do this? I don't think they will. But if he isn't called on 24, he's going to be the one guy that's in the back of my head to be like, is this the name that they're about to announce? Again, don't think so, but it's a guy to watch and see if he can pull things together and have a successful career because he's got the talent. So, but I mean, look at the whole segment we did. We talked more about the off the ice stuff than on the ice, and on the ice stuff is amazing. So, is that what you want? No. So that's where
we can't have a team comprised of 3 segments of this show talking about 3 players and everything they're not doing on the ice for the Colorado Avalanche. We can't do that.
Pretty crazy. So we'll see where it all ends up. All right. We will be back tomorrow, likely, with anything else going on. We have other questions that we have to get to, so we can bring up even more of these questions, and that will be for tomorrow. So that will wrap it up for today. And thank you for making it your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. He is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. See you guys later.